Tommy Rex, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host. Sonic Temple Art and Music Festival returns May 14th through 17th with My Chemical Romance, Tool, Bring Me the Horizon, and Shinedown. Plus, Pierce the Veil, Good Charlotte, The Offspring, Sublime, Godsmack, Breaking Benjamin, Marilyn Manson, and so many more. Sonic Temple in Columbus, Ohio, May 14th to 17th. Passes on sale now for as low as $1 down at sonictemplefestival.com.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle, and this is going to be a fun conversation for me today. This man has been doing it all in the music scene here, and I'm hoping I can pick his brain. He can teach this old dog some new tricks in the social media, music, entertainment world. I'm talking with Jesea Lee. What's going on, man?
Hey, brother. Hey, thanks for having me. I don't know if you might not want to follow my lead too much. I might lead you down some weird ways, some weird strays paths. But if I can assist at all, then I'd be happy to. Why Boondoggle? That's my first question for you. Where'd that name come from?
Boondoggle is, like on my last deployment in the Navy, I had a senior chief that, and I got to get him on. He's an older, salty dude, and from New Jersey. Senior Chief Teeter. But anyway, he just knew, he had me working in an administrative position, and I just couldn't stay in an office confined. I was always kind of getting my way, and whenever my officers would go on a run or people would go out on off base activities, I was able to talk my way into going those. I would justify why they needed me on that particular op or whatever as well.
Nice.
And it got to the point where my senior chief didn't even try and keep me in the office anymore. He just saw me come in the morning. And he was just like, "So what's today's Boondoggle, Bailey?" and I didn't even I was like, man, I like that, So as an homage to him, I picked it. I mean, the definition really isn't I guess the most flattering for, trying to build a platform, but I like it,
Yeah, man, it means something. That's all that matters.
Yeah. And then speaking of names, we were talking a little bit before we went on, but Jesea, I kind of took it as being a Navy veteran sailor that there was something involved with the sea, with the spelling. You want to share how the spelling came in?
Yeah,
for
man,
you?
I spent many years on treacherous waters, and I paid homage to that with my name. No, it's just the real spelling is just Jesea, like normal average Joe spell. Without the I though, that's a very big distinction. It's just Jesse, not Jassie. That's something I fought and battled with my whole life. But no, I was just like an angsty kid, and I was trying to be cool, so I just changed it to Jesea because I thought it was rad and Jesea. And it set me up for a lifetime of people not being able to pronounce my name, unfortunately, because now everyone's just like Jesea. Which is so crazy to me because no one looks at the name Chelsea and is like Chelsea. But so then again, it's just something stupid that I started when I was a kid, and then I started playing in bands, and I would use that as my quote unquote stage name. But what made it really stick was when social media came around, like Facebook and MySpace and all that jazz. That was my name on there. So I met a lot of people and became friends with people, as a lot of millennial people did, through social media platforms. And at a certain point, even when I got a little bit older and wanted to kind of change it back and just use my regular name, the toothpaste was way too out of the tube at that point. I couldn't, it would be just an odd move for me to tell her, oh, by the way, this is my name now. It's I had kind of already started building that quote unquote brand that I didn't even know that was a thing back then, but I guess I had already started doing that. So just stuck, and now I'm stuck with it forever.
Gotcha. And usually when I have a guest on for the first time, I like to go way back. So even before, the MySpace and Facebook, when you were little Jesse with the proper pronunciation or spelling of your name, do you remember what you originally thought of being when you grew up?
Professional wrestler. I mean, I guess Ninja Turtle was probably my first career aspiration. But professional wrestler was probably my first dream, that could have actually been a real thing if I had, gone that right path or whatever. So yeah, that was probably my first goal or aspirations for a career. Then shortly after that, it was skateboarding. I wanted to be some kind of either skateboarder or extreme sports in some way, doing BMX and stuff like that. But yeah, those were my two probably main ideas of what I was into or what I wanted to be until I discovered playing music.
Nice. Yeah, I was reading that and I want to get more in later on into some wrestling fandom. I don't know if you noticed the jersey I got on right now, but
oh, I can't see. It's blocked by the text. What's it say? Oh, go to sleep. Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. That's tight.
But so when was it that music started entering your world, and what were some of the earliest influences for you?
So, I mean, I grew up with a brother who was 11 years older than me. So he got me into a lot of rock and metal music. But the older stuff, and when I say older, and not super old, obviously, but stuff that Metallica and Aerosmith and he had a lot of cassette tapes. I remember Toys in the Attic on cassette tape, listening to that a bunch. So that kind of started my love of me. And my dad too would always be, when he'd be cleaning the house or doing anything around the house, he'd always have the radio station that we have in Cleveland called WMMS. He'd have that blasting and it'd always be playing some Skinner and some Metallica and just all the classic radio jock jams or whatever, So that was kind of my first introduction to, I guess, rock music as far as listening to it. But I started playing music and started actually pursuing the idea of music at all as a career or just a hobby or whatever because of Linkin Park. Oddly enough, I saw the music video for One Step Closer by Linkin Park, and in that video, Chester has blonde spiky hair and Mike has red spiky hair. And at that time, I had blonde spiky hair, and I had a friend who had red spiky hair. And I was like, dude, we should do what these guys are doing. Neither one of us could sing or play any instruments. But we're like, yeah. So we found some other guys in our school and we put together this band. And then I quickly realized I couldn't sing. And the other guy flaked out immediately. And from there, the guitar player in that band was like, hey, you are very good at the singing part. Why don't you try playing guitar instead? I'm like, okay, I'll do that instead. And then it went from there.
Nice. And then what was that starting the band and getting into playing and stuff? What was the music scene around your area?
Very much like it is today, honestly. But as far as guitar driven music, is very metal focused, very hard rock, and back then it was more I guess butt rock, post grunge type of stuff, because that was just the era, the Nickelback and I want to say Creed, but more just the harder rock kind of stuff around back then. That was because then, I mean, when I was real little, we weren't getting into clubs or anything like that. We were playing the teen center or something, or a church or something like that. So the quote unquote scene around back then is kind of hard for me to say for sure because I was, 12. I wasn't really in it,
Yeah. What I mean, so you grew up in North Ridgeville, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I keep forgetting this is a Cleveland focused podcast because I keep forgetting I can mention specific things on here because I'm trying to
say I mean, I talk to people from all over the place, but we're, I'll know what you're talking about, with the local scene here. But when you were old enough, what were some of the venues that you would hit or play at?
Oh man, dude. So Peabody's was the spot. That was where we cut our teeth. That was the venue that we hung out in every weekend, whether we were playing a show or not, just go in there to see a
Yeah.
show. And like that was a venue, Pirates Cove, which was like the little adjacent venue off the pizza shop, which people might remember. And you go see a show for
Rascal
like
House.
$5. Yeah, Rascal House. Yeah, R.I.P. Or actually, are they still there? I think.
They actually are they got a location out in Euclid.
Okay.
I've been there. It was
Nice.
funny. I was working security with one of the guys that used to do security at Peabody's for a little bit when Temple Live was still around.
Okay, yeah.
And one of the nights they ordered Rascal House for us. So we were like, man, this is like the old days,
Yeah,
Peabody's.
yeah. Oh, dude, I used to love the white pizza from Rascal House randomly. I'm not even a huge white pizza fan, but that was it. But yeah, we would go there just like we wouldn't even know who was playing. My friends and I
Yeah.
would just like get a ride there and like pay our $5 or $10, whatever, watch some local band. Sometimes it'd be a touring band that's coming through that, it wasn't like big enough where it was sold out. So we get to go and watch some really cool acts in there. But yeah, that was definitely the main spot back in the day.
Yeah, Peabody's, man. I had a good relationship with Dan Call and then Chris Zerabart when he took it over.
Nice.
But that, man, I don't know how many near-death experiences I may have had there back in my drinking days. They actually did before my last deployment, they threw a going away party for me that like 216 headlined.
Nice.
And then when I came home, they had a welcome home party at 216 headline, which was my last blackout before I decided to get sober.
That's good send
a little bit. Yeah, yeah. It was good times, man. Good times. And then you mentioned, growing up listening to WMMS, and I think like I think 92.3 Extreme was around at that time, or the end maybe and stuff.
92.3 back when they played music. That was the shit.
Yeah. What was how did those stations kind of play a role in influencing you to get involved in what you do today?
So it did indirectly, and I didn't even realize it at the time, but growing up, I've always loved hearing people talk about music almost as much as I love like actually listening to music. Like I used to just love watching documentaries and like behind the music and things like that. I loved listening to the radio or watching like not TRL, but like any of the like Metal Headbangers Ball and stuff like that. I mean, I should say I did love TRL as well, but that's a side note. But no, I always loved the idea of like I just loved hearing people talk about music, and I didn't really realize that it was something that I wanted to do right then, but I did notice I always gravitated towards that. And yeah, I think that eventually shaped my idea of what I wanted to do for a living.
Gotcha. And then real quick, going back to when you used to play like Peabody's and stuff, what band was that with at the time?
I mean, so the main band I was in was called One Day's Notice. That was like a pop punk band, but that was from like 2010 to like 2017. So that was like the main band I did for most of my life. But before then, it was just all completely random, thrown together bands that we would be together for like 6 months or something like that, and play 5 nights a week at where we could play at. And I did like a solo thing for a while too, which was just called like Jesse Lee, like acoustic stuff, so. But yeah, so really the only real band was that, and then also this band Darling Waste. I played guitar for them for a while.
Gotcha. And then going back to what you're doing today, like what was like you said, you loved hearing the stories about music. I mean, how cool an opportunity just to have a conversation as sometimes we get to do with like Matt Pinfield,
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, there's a storyteller right there,
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Dude.
But go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I mean, it is cool to like see these guys who like I grew up watching on TV, doing these, like living the dream basically, and then like they're still doing it just like in a a different environment, different setting. It's cool that like they are still able to bring this like energy and this love for the music into like the new era of the way people consume content, because people aren't watching TV and watching countdown shows really on on actual TV anymore about music, but there's other avenues to obviously do it on, like through social media and podcasts and YouTube and whatnot. So it is cool to see these guys embracing the new era and the new way of getting it out there, and still, and for me as a fan, still getting to watch them is fucking great.
Oh yeah, amazing. And then speaking of this new era, I mean, that was like, when did you? I mean, you mentioned MySpace being on there, and like you said, with your name, the toothpaste was already out of the tube and everything. But like, how did social media? Like, were you able to like use social media to start becoming like a content creator and get into that?
So I remember like I had Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, and I post like pictures of my food and like my friends and hanging out and stuff, like nothing. I wasn't creating content. But when TikTok came around, I started seeing artists like Lil Nas X and like other pop and hip hop artists like just blow up off this app. And I downloaded out of curiosity, and I saw like, again, like all these artists blowing up. And I know how they, I at this point, I had seen how it works. Like it's usually like something like this new comes out, and it's always like the pop or the hip hop crowd, like the cooler, quote unquote, cooler crowd that embraces it first. And then eventually rock and metal, like kind of, like, oh, okay, we'll do this too. We reluctantly had to be pulled across the finish line sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just felt like that was gonna be the next spot. Like TikTok to me really seemed like it's gonna be the next MySpace boom for artists, next way to blow up, because there really wasn't anything available at the moment that was like really popping off for artists. So yeah, I just started posting on there about bands and artists I liked, and like I said, there was really nobody on there talking about like rock and pop punk and alternative music and metal and everything like that. I mean, there was a few creators, and I befriended them, and we would work together on stuff, but there really wasn't like any kind of audience there for it yet. And yeah, just over time it built up, and now obviously there's a ton of people doing it and doing a great job at it.
Yeah, I know. Going back to social media, I'm in my 50s, so it's like that's why I said the old dog trying to learn new tricks.
Yeah.
In this thing, but like I loved MySpace. It's like when I was on my last deployment, like MySpace was my thing. It's how I was keeping in touch with family back home and everything, and music and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like when it was time to like go home, it's like you get like picked with a bunch of strangers all across the country to go serve a mission. And by the end of the mission, you're like family and you want to stay in touch. So everybody's like, Bailey, you got to get on Facebook. You got to get on Facebook so we can keep in touch. So I kind of like reluctantly got into Facebook, which became the thing.
Yeah.
But it's still like all these, doing the podcast, getting into trying to get into this world. It was like a childhood dream for me to try and get into this, but life and took me many different places. But I'm realizing, man, it's like those hits. You got to use the social media as a tool to get noticed, to get the plays, to get the doors opened up for the interviews and stuff. And like TikTok is one of the last things I like downloaded, because to me, I assumed it was like 15-year-old girls just doing ridiculous dances.
Right.
When I scroll through there, but like you were able to, be some of the first in the rock and metal community to get on there, and like, I mean, basically, what was like your beginnings like on TikTok, and then how did it evolve and you utilize it to?
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, I feel you, dude. Like when I didn't want to be on there at first either, because like, it was kind of, and the very infancy of it was basically a dance trend app. That's really all it was. Like, everybody was just kind of dancing on there, and there was like some skits and stuff like that. But the thing was, because of the dancing, it was very music fueled. So that's why it was a kind of an easy tie-in. But for me creating content on there, like obviously I wasn't dancing. And honestly, when I started posting on there, I was like embarrassed I wasn't telling my friends or anything. I wasn't like posting the link on other social media platforms, like, hey, check out my TikTok or anything like that. Like I was doing it like kind of quietly, like just like this is my own little project I'm doing. I'm not advertising it. And I wasn't even speaking or anything in my videos. I was like pointing to the screen or whatever. And it was just like, I had to like think back to what my first videos were, but I think there was something super simple, just like me pointing to the screen of text that says, if you like these bands, and then point over here, then check out this band, and it would be a band comparison. Because I was like, that was a big thing I was doing initially, was just recommending new music, just new artists that people weren't listening to, or that I thought more people should be listening to. Or sometimes I would do like, do you remember this kind of throwback jam, like nostalgia stuff. A lot of like compilation videos where I'm just playing like 5 or 6 songs of like throwback jams together, and like just like, oh, remember all these jams, And again, it wasn't even me talking about the music or saying anything. It was just me being like, hey, this is cool music. And when those videos started popping off, man, that was such an adrenaline rush. Like, because like for the first time, like people are responding and engaging, and it's being like these videos are doing well, and it's just me sharing music, which is just, that part was just so cool to me. It's like, wow, so many people are just loving me sharing music. Like that's such a cool idea, because as I'm sure you do too, like I just love sharing music with people. I love talking about music. I love hearing about music. So it's like to see like, the fruits of the labor, I guess, it was really cool. Yeah,
man, that's awesome. I know I need to do more of it on social media, but yeah, it's like, cause it's become such like a necessary like evil in this world, with streams and all that. But as your thing started growing, like, let's talk about like kind of when you became the music news daddy.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I kind of like, I've kind of like started backing off the music news day thing a little bit, just because like I'm starting to like not be focused as much on just the news. I like want to, do more about like stories and like, interviews and things like that as well. But yeah, it's funny, the whole music news daddy thing, like it was like, it started in like the comment section, and somebody like left that in there, and then just started building up steam from there. But yeah, so as far as like how like, starting to talk about the news, I don't remember what the first video was, but like there was just something that happened that I wanted to talk about, and like I don't think I even had a microphone or anything at the time. I just like I recorded a quick video of me talking about it, and that blew up, and just from there I just started like talking about more and more news stories, and yeah, it became like almost like a easier content strategy, because before it's like I'm trying to think of like songs to share, I'm trying to find new music to share, but then the news happens every day. There's always like a new topic to talk about. So it became like an easier way to go with that route as well. So it just made more sense. I started realizing I enjoyed that aspect of it more than looking back and being nostalgic about tracks. Cause like, I like the idea of sharing new music, but sometimes you have to talk about the old music to get people to listen, because a lot of people don't give a shit about finding out new music, So it was cool. It was cool to be like talking about new stuff, but also be talking about, stuff that people care about at the same time.
Yeah. And then like, as you started, as TikTok was blowing up for you and you started getting a more of a following, like, were there any other like tools you would use, like implement in your presentations, like for editing and stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, I started using this app called InShot and InShot and Canva, or what the fuck is it? CapCut. Sorry, CapCut later on. But then the first one was InShot. That was like the first app I started. And like I still just edit all my videos on my phone and record everything on my phone. Like I use the computer for like my podcasts and things like that. But when it comes to editing, just like the short form content, I still just do it all on my phone. Like, I mean, it might be faster if I did it on the computer, but I don't think it would be, just because like that's not my workflow. And I had to like retrain my brain, and I had to be like passing files back and forth to the computer and the phone and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just so quick I can like go from an idea to posting a video in like 3 hours, which is pretty cool. Like,
yeah, dude. And that's the thing, like you were mentioning, like, I mean, I think that's been like my hang up, is just like retraining my brain into using a lot of the, I mean, I know like, even this using StreamYard and doing this was like new to me, and I was like scared that I'd mess it up. So I like had people alongside me, but then after you start doing it, it's like working out a muscle, and
oh yeah, you gotta get your reps in.
Yeah, exactly. And but yeah, there's still some of that other stuff that I I psych myself out on using, but it's like, I gotta face it and learn it if I actually want to grab a following. I
Yeah.
mean, this is like, this is more like a labor of love for me. It's kind of like, I've shared with, like, I have veterans on here all the time that I talk to as well. And, you know, it's part of my mental health journey. You know, I think I told you, you know, it's like Peabody's Welcome Home show was my last blackout. I've been sober now 16 years, but I didn't know how to get out and talk to people without social lubricant. So I had to like retrain. And this helps me, you know, by doing this and setting up interviews with strangers, helps me like with my social skills.
Honestly, dude, I feel you on that, because that was a big reason why I started doing interviews as well, is because I was creating all this content sort of in a vacuum. You know, I'm just like in here, my studio, which wasn't like this at the time, but my office spot, and just like talking into a phone all day long, just talking to myself, you know, shouting into the void about Metallica and shit. And like, yeah, I was like, man, I gotta start talking to some other people. I feel like I'm not like, I need that checks and balances of a conversation, you know? So I started doing interviews too, because it was nice to, you know, kind of branch out and actually have other people to speak to about music.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like, I just started like kind of trying to learn a little bit of AI, since like, whether you like it or not, it seems to be where a lot of things are going. So I've been kind of watching some webinars to see how I can, you know, cause I'm lazy, I'll admit, you know, and if there's a way to get other stuff to do the work for me, you know,
well, and like,
try and learn that.
That's a big thing with the AI stuff too, is like, I'm not, a lot of people might think I'm like anti-AI or something like that, because I have made, you know, videos like shitting on AI artists and stuff like that. Cause I still think completely AI generated music is dog shit. I guess garbage water, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, I agree with you there for sure.
Yeah. But AI, like you said, is not going anywhere. And there are useful tools for AI. There are ways to make it, it's not going anywhere, first of all. So there's no point of trying to fight that aspect of it. But two, it is helpful in a lot of ways. And like, it does, I think AI is great to handle the remedial, like mindless tasks that don't take any creative ability, like editing a video or something like that. And I mean, I know a lot of editing takes work or effort and talent as well, but the simple edit stuff where it's like just cutting out pauses and, you know, breaks and stuff like that, that's not something you need a person to do. Like, if AI can cut down a video from 20 minutes to, you know, a minute with a click of a button and save you an hour, like why the fuck wouldn't you do that? You know, like that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
and like,
exactly.
I was talking to Black Veil Brides from Andy Biersack, just, you know, quick name drop there. But no, I was talking to him on my show a couple weeks ago, and he was saying how, like, you know, they had those remodeling for their amplifiers, for their guitars and stuff. They like model different amps. They can make their amps sound like any amp in the world, basically. And he said we were using those like way back in the day, like when we first started playing shows. And he's like, that's a form of artificial intelligence, you know, but it's not being, you know, it's not being shit on as much as, you know, other forms of artificial intelligence. Like, so it's just, you kind of have to pick your poison. Like, how much AI do you want to use in your creative process, I guess?
Yeah, exactly. Well, like I was saying, I kind of look at it, if it can save me time, you know, on like editing and, you know, building my thing. It's like, I mean, like you know, I mean, you went from, you know, being the music news daddy to being an actual father, you know, like that takes a lot of time for us, you know, and we love to have more time with our kids. If we can put in a little program with AI and have it like, okay, I just recorded this, you edit it, and boom, I got more time. I'm all about that, you know.
100%. Yeah. I mean, like the whole idea that, like, you know, robots were supposed to help us, you know, do our chores while we made art, but instead it's making art while we do chores. Like, that's like 100%. Like, if AI can wash my dishes for me while I create some content, then fuck yeah, I'm on board with it. Like,
exactly. And then, you know, talking about like, as your TikTok influence and social media influence grew, you caught the eye of, you know, Octane or SiriusXM and stuff, to have, you know, your own show on a bigger platform. Like, talk about how that went down.
Yeah, man, that just was a random DM from the program director. Like I could have easily have missed it as well because it was like in the spam folder or whatever the other folder was back in the day on Instagram. But yeah, it was a random DM from the program director who's like not even verified or anything on Instagram. Like I had to double check, make sure I wasn't being like catfish or something, you know. But yeah, he hit me up. He was they were looking at bringing some new voices on the station, and I think they also really wanted to tap into that, TikTok world as well, because Octane is, they're all about the new music, the new hard rock and metal, and they're, focused on the new era as much as, they are embracing the past as well. And they're always looking to advance and be with the times as well. So they were looking to, tap into that market. And I guess at that point, I was kind of the only dude talking about that kind of music on that platform. So I'm assuming I jumped to the top of the list because of that.
Nice. And then, they reach out to you, you find out you're not being catfished.
Yeah.
Conversation goes down, and then the Jesse Lee show is born.
Yeah, I mean, so the Jesse Lee show is like really just my podcast that I do on my own with like doing interviews and talking about news stories and stuff on the YouTube channel. So there's not technically a Jesse Lee show on Octane, but I guess like it does say the Jesse Lee show when I'm hosting or whatever, when I'm doing my weekend shift or whatever. But I mean, technically, I don't think there's technically a Jesse Lee show on Octane, but it says that on the little screen, the little metadata.
Gotcha. And then, I mean, obviously, you were doing this, you started doing all your stuff kind of for fun and your love of music. And then all of it, you have an opportunity to like actually pay the bills and make a career with it. Like what's, and like we were talking earlier about like, listening to MMS and 92.3 Extreme and stuff like that back in our day. I mean, could you ever picture yourself being like on a satellite radio platform?
Oh no, man! Like I literally am living the dream when I say that. Like I'm not even being like I'm not even like exaggerating. That was at one point the dream was to be on the radio. So it's really cool to be in that position. I do remember listening to talk shows on the radio and like the DJs and stuff, and just like, of course, at that time I was like, God, it's so easy. They have such an easy job. It's so cool, And now I'm like, oh shit, okay, so it's not as easy as I thought it was, but still very cool. Still as cool, just not as easy as I thought it was. I'll never forget. I was listening to MMS, and I don't remember who the host was. It was a female host, and she was just doing her DJ breaks or whatever. And she said something like, it was a Friday, and she's like, thank God it's Friday. We're at the end of the week. I can't wait to get the weekend started. Like, oh man, I'm so glad, we're ending the week and we're getting into some relaxation or something like that. I just remember thinking like, oh, it's so fucking hard. Push a button, huh? Oh, what do you mean? I just got off on a shitty day at work, And I remember having that. I still to this day remember that thought like, oh, it must be so fucking hard just listening to music all day. And I'm like, oh, I know there's people out there listening to me like, oh, fuck you, Jesse Lee. It's not that hard.
And then, I mean, like with technology, the way it is, like, a lot of the back in the day, it's just like, you have to show up to the studio. You have to go downtown to like the MMS, studios or something like that. And now you're on like this worldwide satellite platform, right from home. Like how did all that learning come together for you, and just like building your studio? Let's talk about building your home studio.
Yeah. So I had already started my podcast before SiriusXM hit me up. So luckily I had a lot of the equipment already. Like I had a decent, okay mic, and I had obviously a computer and like a little interface. But like once I realized I was going to start doing that SiriusXM thing, that's when I shelled out a little bit of coin just to get a decent mic, like a better mic. And, and then I eventually upgraded and got a good camera when I started doing like more video interviews and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of a slow process of just like putting pieces together here and there. And then when we built this house in 2020, 2 or something like that. But when we built this house, like I put this office together kind of in mind, like this was going to be a studio. So I kind of like had it already laid out the way I wanted it to, look as we were putting it together. And when I say built this house, I'm not like, I didn't get a hammer or out or anything like that. Like this is like a slapped together Lego piece house, the fucking, whatever those builders are, the construction crews or whatever.
Nice. But when you had an input on the design of your house, you knew kind of what you wanted.
I mean, kind of, with any of these like builders, like in these developments, like it's kind of you have like a cookie cutter, a few options to choose from. But yeah, when we were building the basement out, like I had the option to put a room down here, and I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely want a room down here because this is going to be the studio, it's going to be the office. So it was nice to like when I first got in here, just I immediately made it into the studio in the office. Like whereas before it was an old bedroom that I kind of turned into a studio, so now it's like this, like I moved into it with the intention like this is where I'm going to record right from now on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much down in my basement of my condo, and doing my thing. But
yeah, I mean, it's nothing fancy. I got these like racks off Amazon, these like merch racks, and then I just put a black curtain behind them. So I mean, it's nothing like I didn't build out like anything like $1 million studio or like that, but it's I don't know, it's comfy.
And I love the picture that you have with your camera. I got like a old Logitech or whatever 4K, but I'm definitely due for an upgrade, man. I might have to ask you about how much coin we're looking at.
Yeah, I was using it might have been a Logitech too. I was definitely using a webcam for a lot of my interviews early on. Like if you go back and watch, like I think even the interview I did with with Serge Takian, I think even that was a webcam interview. I was using pretty poor quality videos. What yours actually looks pretty good right now. I'm surprised that's a webcam because that quality is pretty solid. But I eventually ditched that and got the Sony ZV E10. It's a pretty good starter camera. It's not super crazy expensive, but it's got a lot of good it's good quality. So I'd probably recommend that to you if you were looking to upgrade anytime.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I need to. And awesome with the Surge interview too. My fiance is like a huge fan of his. Nice. She was like playing one of his, like when he did the live like opera tour or shows that he did. Yeah. And she's just like, this is amazing. Like hopefully he does that sometime.
He's such a nice guy too. Like that was like one of the interviews I was like pretty nervous about going into, just because I wouldn't say nervous, but just like a little like anxious about, because I'm such a huge System of a Down fan. And it was just like a normal conversation. Like just, I mean, I know just talking to any band or artist, like they're just a person, just like me, they might just have more money or, and they happen to write incredible life-changing songs, but at the end of the day, they're still a person, so I get that. But there are still certain artists that like before I talk to them, like, oof, this is big, but yeah, he ended up being so cool.
Yeah, dude, I feel that, man. I mean, I've been lucky to get, like I had Charlie Benante on, and I remember when I set what that was getting scheduled, dude, I was nervous, to talk to that guy. And then, thankfully I formed a friendship with Matt Pinfield. So that was almost easier for me to get him on. Him and David Ellefson are like, I've been blessed to become friends with them. So it's easier to kind of talk to people you already have a relationship with that, you admire. But I feel you, man. If I don't know, like, I'll still get nervous if it's somebody that like, especially like if it's an artist that over all these years, like this song like really like hit me, like especially during my time of service, when you're in like some of the worst places in your life or whatever, or mentally in a spot, and then that song like literally like kept you going, and then you finally get to talk to that person, man. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude.
Big deal. And then like, talking about like the technology that goes into everything today. Like with, when you started working with Octane and stuff today, were they like, okay, well, you got to have this kind of like internet at your house. You got to have, whatever, or do they actually like kind of reimburse you for when you're building this?
So they sent me a computer to record stuff on. But other than that, no, I was pretty much left to my own devices. Like as long as because as long as my internet connection was decent, strong, I think it's fine. I think unless I had dial up, I don't think it would be an issue.
Yeah. But then once once your like work for them is like recorded or whatever, and to get it uploaded and sent over, it's like quick deal now and kind of easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing how like seamless everything is with technology. Again, like I'm sure AI is just going to make it even easier to do stuff like that going forward. But yeah, it's like it's crazy how like we don't even have to leave our houses to make content and be on the radio and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like it might be a little more difficult for like the terrestrial radio, like the FM stations and stuff like that. I feel like they probably still go in the studios or probably have to, but yeah, with satellite, man, it's so cool just to be able to do it from anywhere. Like Jose will do his show from the freaking beach, if I was on vacation. I last time I went to I think it was Incarceration Festival. I did my show from like the backstage area. Like I was sitting there at a table recording my show. And
I was at a probably table next to you. That's probably when I talked to you afterwards.
Probably, man. Yeah, I had I'm like fucking doing this show, and Eric from I Prevail like comes up and hey, what's up, man? I'm like, oh, what's up, dude? I'm like, you want to say something in the microphone real quick? He's like, yeah. Like he's quickly on Octane for a second, just randomly. Like it was just so cool to be able to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's so even during, I mean, you said during doing your show there on location, it's like it's not even like a pre-recorded thing. You're actually live.
Yeah,
those times?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you are. Yeah, that's right. You were on the weekend thing. So usually we're at the festivals on the weekend. So
yeah,
that's a cool setup to have. And yeah, I've seen Jose, doing his, under the tent or whatever, on his laptop there too. That's pretty sweet. And I mean, talking about like when, we already talked about like, Octane reaches out to you, your social media and TikTok influence caught their eye and stuff. But then like you've actually been on or interviewed in like, Rolling Stone and Billboard and magazine and stuff like that. I mean, did you ever think that would ever happen? And then also like, what was that like,
No, it was pretty cool. Like, I started, like I would write, cause a lot of the content I would write out as well. Like before, like I recorded, like I write down the ideas and stuff. Just cause I like to have like the visual representation or like what I'm saying and stuff. And I started like writing up like articles and things and like submitting them to, places like Loudwire and Revolver and stuff like that. And they would pick them up and run them, which was pretty cool. But yeah, then like eventually like these bigger outlets, like you said, like Rolling Stone and Billboard and stuff started reaching out to me because of, I guess, of the following I've built up since I do have, what people would consider a voice in this genre. When there's a topic that comes up that those outlets are writing about, they're like, oh yeah, well, you get a quote from this dude, that we can include in here, which is always good. But yeah, man, I never thought in a million years that like these mainstream outlets would give a shit what I have to say about, Metallica or Linkin Park or whatever it is.
Awesome. Yeah. So I mentioned, my fiance being a big fan of Surge, but my oldest daughter, especially almost to like the status of mental illness, is a very huge Justin Bieber fan.
Yeah. Nice.
And I heard there's a good Justin Bieber story that you have that you could share.
Where did you hear that? That's a deep pull, man. Damn, you did your digging. Yeah. So when I was, oh my God, 20, let's say in early 20s, I'm not sure when, but I was broke as hell for a long time. And I was like looking for ways to make extra money on the side. And the band I was in, the manager slash wife of one of the guitar player, she's like, "Hey, I found this ad on Craigslist to be a Justin Bieber impersonator." And our bass player at the time, he actually looks like Justin Bieber. Like he had blonde hair and everything like that. Like, he actually really did look like Justin Bieber. So originally she's like, "Why don't you do this Justin Bieber impersonator thing for this kid's birthday party?" And he's super shy, and he's like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, "I'll do it. I'll fucking do it." And there was like, "You don't look like Justin Bieber." I'm like, "That's all right." And like, I must have been the only one that responded to this ad, because I got the gig right away, and I did have like longer hair, so I guess that was a good I guess that was an attribute that made me look Justin Bieber-ish. But yeah, man, I was kind of far away too. I had to drive to it, and they had clothes for me to put on, and then it's like an 8-year-old's birthday party, and I get there, they bring me in a limo, and I come out on this like stage they built. But they did all this. They had all this pre-planned, but for whatever reason, they didn't think about how I was gonna like sing, or because I was supposed to like lip sync basically, but they didn't have any way. They were just gonna play the music on like a little stereo, like a boom box that was sitting there, and I was supposed to lip sync to it. But I'm like, and I'm telling them like, they're gonna see that I'm not singing. Like it's like there's like 30 people there. It's not like I'm on a stage like up far away where it's like I can really like mime this. Like, they're going to hear it coming out of the radio. And they're like, "Just hold your hand up over your mouth when you're singing." I'm like, so I'm singing into my hand. And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "This is how bad I needed money, man." I was like, "All right." And dude, I was dancing around and showing my back to the audience as much as I could to like hide it. And I had them fooled pretty hard there for a minute. But then unfortunately there was a girl there, like it must have been some cousin or something, who was like a little bit older. She's like 10 or something. And she just like screams out. She's like, "That's not the real Justin Bieber." And everyone's like, "What?" And like the dad's like, "Shut up, shut up." like trying to hurry around the room. Yeah, then I took a picture with the birthday girl and collected my cash and went on my way.
I mean, I could think of worse things people do for money, but
yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
It's probably not the most embarrassing thing I've done for money, but it's definitely the strangest, that's for sure.
That's awesome, man. That's hilarious. And then, we talked early on in the beginning about, your original dreams and aspirations to be a professional wrestler. Let's talk a little bit about some WWE love.
Yeah, man.
Like when did that start for you? And are you still a fan today?
Yeah, dude. So it started like right before the Attitude Era, which I the name's escaping me right now, the Generation Years or something. I can't remember what the name of that era was for whatever reason.
New Generation or
yeah, the
something
New
like
Generation. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So that's when I got into it, and I would go back. And back when video stores were a thing, I would go there and get the VHS tapes and watch the old WrestleManias. So those first ones were like Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan and Savage and stuff like that. And like, yeah, just like the New Generation era of like the beginnings of like Shawn Michaels and Diesel and like, oh man, all the Bret the Hitman Hart, obviously. So yeah, that's like when I first got into it. And then when like the Attitude Era hit with like Stone Cold and The Rock, that's when I was like, that we're all running around in high school or in middle school or in elementary school, just like, suck it, doing the crotch chops and stuff. And like, it doesn't matter to the teacher. Like that's when it fully took over. Like, that's when I was like, okay, this is my life now. Yeah. And I fell off after, probably when I discovered girls for real. Like, I think that's when I probably like really stopped like being as into it. But I always kept up with it casually, like throughout the years here and there. Like I would watch like the big ones like WrestleMania and Rumble and stuff. But I would say most of the late 2000s and like the 2010s, I wasn't really watching it much. And then I got back into it again around like 2017, 2018, something like that. That's when I really started watching it regularly, but mostly because my wife, she's a big wrestling fan too. So it was like, I had somebody to watch it with again. So it was like, that made it more exciting.
Yeah.
And then, now I'm way too into it now. I spend way too much time watching wrestling, and like, honestly, again, kind of like with the music stuff, I listen to way more podcasts about wrestling than I actually watch wrestling, which is crazy. I love hearing people talking about wrestling so much that I do that more than I even do watch wrestling. But yeah, now it's like, again, it's a little too much for me. I need to probably take a step back from it as much.
Yeah, dude, one of my influences, when I was starting the podcast was like Talk is Jericho.
Yeah,
like,
man.
Back in the day, I think The Art of Wrestling with Colt Cabana was one of my favorites because he really got the on the road stories and backstories and everything with people back then. But yeah, I mean, I've been a fan since like WrestleMania 2. My grandpa got me into it, and it's been like my, even when I got into girls, I was just like, all right, it's it's a pay-per-view weekend. I'll see you afterwards or whatever,
right.
Like I haven't missed. It's been my my male soap opera.
Nice. So you've been consistent ever since then?
Pretty much. I mean, tell you what, like, I mean, with the changes on the different like streaming apps and stuff, I've been kind of like, all right, I'm tired of like paying for a new subscription for stuff. Yeah. And it's hard for me to keep justifying it, but I mean, I definitely saw the Rumble, and now I'm like hyped for the road to WrestleMania and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I watched, I was into, Cena's retirement tour and and stuff like that. So,
and that's what's great too, is like with social media, like you can keep up with all of it without having to watch every single episode. I mean, I think it's better to watch if you're really a fan, of course, but like, there's lots of times where I can't watch the entire Monday Night Raw or any of it or whatever, but the next day I'll catch like the highlights on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I'm caught up, and I'm caught with the story enough that I can watch, the pay-per-view or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with it as well. And then Bloodline, all that stuff. I like and I mean, let's face it, man, sometimes when we get too consumed with some of the stuff that we see on social media outside of our bubble, like just happening in the world or whatever, it can be depressing and, and I'd rather like, I need something where I just like mind numbing entertainment, to check out. And that's mine.
I think that's what I love about it too. Yeah. It is like very like not consequential. Like it's like, these are real people doing like crazy, really athletic performances. And like, of course, the storylines are scripted, but like what they're doing is very impressive and very cool to watch. But then, again, at the same time, is like there's not any real stakes as far as like nobody is actually like tombstoning their father on their head or anything like that. So it's like that's nice. Like it's just it's a fun story, and then it's also entertaining and cool to watch.
Yeah, and like just thinking about shit, man, why my mind suddenly go blank here, but shit, man, I had something really cool I was gonna say, or I thought it was really cool, and then there it went. But just like with watching the wrestling and like you were saying, the athleticism and everything, and I know what I was gonna say, being us being in basically Cleveland kids, I never like, I got into the Browns as I was around during the Cardiac Kids days, got into the Browns, and then heartbreak after heartbreak. And I'm just like, I'm living in Brook Park now, and they're going to be building the dome down the street from me. But it's just like, I'm like, okay, whatever, as long as they bring a WrestleMania here or something like that, I'll be cool with the dome. I could care less. And all my friends make fun of me. Oh, you're into that fake stuff. I'm like, at least half the time my guy wins, and I got something to cheer for, when does your guys win,
Exactly. Yeah, dude. That aspect of it is always so silly to me too. Like people that don't like it because it's like fake or whatever. It's like, but you like TV shows? Like what do you think those are real? Like, people aren't like, somebody wasn't really abducted and taken into like the underworld and Stranger Things. Like that was a show too, man. Like, but yeah, no, I feel you on that too. Like I never was really into sports growing up. Despite how super athletic I look, I know, but I was never like super into sports growing up. And then like now I watch them a lot more for like the social aspect of it. But I just like the watching the athletic abilities and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool. But and I'm, my son is super into sports and he plays all of them, so like that's got me into him more as well. But yeah, wrestling was always like the that was the one I was watching as far as like any kind of like sporting event. That was the one I was always gravitating towards.
If you haven't yet, I highly recommend sometime catching. I don't know if you heard of AIW.
Oh yeah, yeah, I've been to a couple of those. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, dude. They put on great shows. I remember, I became friends with John and Chandler that put AIW together, and I remember like going to shows and like there'd be like Kevin Steen standing next to me, and then now he's been Kevin Owens, and seeing these guys like that have come through there that then end up becoming the biggest stars. And I'm like, I kick myself sometimes because it's like, damn, I should have grabbed a picture with him. It's like, I didn't think this guy was going to blow up or whatever,
Yeah. I mean, but if you're, I would say that to anybody that's a wrestling fan, if there is a local thing in your area, like definitely go check them out. Definitely try to see. Cause yeah, like you said, there could be people coming up through those systems that eventually get put in NXT or, AEW and stuff like that. And eventually be put on WWE or whatever it is. Like, so yeah, a lot of people, cut their teeth there, and it's just again, it's just fun to watch. It's just cool to go to those things. It's just like nice. It's a nice way to go see some wrestling without spending, the $150 or whatever it is cost for a ticket now.
Yeah, yeah, and those guys always put on a good show, man. They always have a good product, I think. And then like, oh yeah, did you happen to go to the SummerSlam when it was here?
Oh yeah, I went.
Nice.
Yeah, I
definitely a not miss.
Oh yeah. I was so like annoyed though because I shelled out for this one, man. Like because I'm like, if I'm gonna go to SummerSlam, I'm going right. Not a very regular thing for a big pay-per-view like that to come to Cleveland, obviously. So I ended up getting floor seats to this event, and I immediately regretted it because if you're on the floor, unless you're in the first like, I don't know, 10 to 20 rows, like you can't see shit, man. Cause I have floor seats, but I was pretty far back. So the way the ring was, it wasn't like super high up in the air. So
the screen's like way up here,
Yeah. And the entrance was like blocked by a stadium, stadium seating, like going down the side of it. So I couldn't even see the entrance from where I was. So I'm sitting there in these expensive ass seats and I can't see shit. Meanwhile, people in the lower bowl have the perfect view, and they probably paid like half the amount I paid for a ticket. I'm like, never again, dude. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, dude, you gotta flex that SiriusXM muscle maybe next time with WWE.
Right. Do you know who I am?
And then like we talked a little bit about like the festivals that you've got to do interviews at or be a part of. I mean, we're pretty blessed here in Ohio having two major festivals that come through with Incarceration and Sonic Temple. And man, I always enjoy being a part of those. But when you got on board with Octane and stuff, have you been able to like travel to some of the other ones?
Yeah, I haven't traveled to any of the Danny Wimmer ones yet, but that is kind of a goal of mine this year is to try. I want to hit them all. Ideally, I'd love to hit all like Welcome to Rockville and Aftershock and just go to all of them. Don't know if that's gonna happen financially, but we'll see. That'd be really cool to do. But I have gone to like other festivals that aren't Danny Wimmer festivals that are like in different parts of the world. Like I've gone to When We Were Young a couple times. I've done went out to France this past summer for Hellfest, which was pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
Lollapalooza, did that one. So yeah, I mean, it's been really cool. Like the opportunities have come up with like these festivals or these, usually it's a brand that reaches out to me. Like with When We Were Young, like it was a Hot Topic. They wanted me to come out there and do interviews for, Hot Topic. So it's cool. That again, kind of like we were talking about before, like these like outlets reach out to me for interviews and stuff. It's cool that like these brands or whatever it is, these festivals are like, oh, we want you here. We want you to be the face of this. So yeah.
And then hopefully they help with funding and everything to get out there and everything,
right.
So that's definitely a bonus, man.
Oh yeah.
what's been one of your favorite festival experiences?
Oh man. Honestly, it's hard to pinpoint any one of them, but I did all the Danny Wimmer festivals are my favorite to go to by far. Like just the way they have everything put together. The setup is just perfect. Like it's a real well-oiled machine. And
Yeah.
especially with a lot of these festivals these days, like there's so many horror stories you hear about
Like
things.
Blue Ridge.
Yeah, man. So it's like, a lot of times like I get invited to a festival. If it's not like a super reputable one, I'm like a little nervous about the idea of going because like you don't know what you're getting into a lot of times, especially if it's far out there in the middle of nowhere or something. So yeah, I always feel super comfortable going to those for that aspect of it. And then just the lineups always kick ass. And I love Incarceration Festival, being at the prison. Like it's just such a cool backdrop. But yeah, as far as like, I don't know if I have a favorite festival experience, because I mean it's all just such a whirlwind of blackout like partying and listening to music and stuff. So
Yeah. Have you done four chord ever?
no, I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah. I mean, I look at some of the ones that are like within driving distance that I could do. I mean, I've been down to Louder. I enjoyed my time in Louisville and stuff, but yeah, I'm like you, I definitely enjoy the Danny Wimmer machine, being a part of that whole thing. Cause it's like, you have an area where you can go and do your stuff. It's so well run. And me being a veteran, I've always enjoyed when I would go to, even back when it was Rock on the Range, he always had it around like, Armed Forces Weekend or something like that. And he always did something to pay tribute to the military. And I totally like have mad respect for him for doing that.
That's awesome.
As well. Like Nina Strauss playing the Star Spangled Banner one year.
Oh yeah.
On her guitar. That was just amazing, to be a part of that. And then I mentioned before, but like, teaching an old dog new tricks, any kind of knowledge or advice you'd pass on to a guy my age that's still trying to get to this thing to the next level?
Yeah, man. I would say just obviously what you're already doing, just constantly learning, constantly trying to, try new stuff and like really, branching out, finding out what's working for other people and trying to like see how you can recreate that in your own way. But above all else, it's just consistency. It's like we were talking about before, like getting your reps in. Like I feel like a lot of times the problem is people are trying to do this kind of stuff and they don't see the results right away, so they give up. They don't keep it going, and like the fastest way to lose is to not try, obviously. So you have to just keep putting the reps in and keep trying, and hopefully everything you do gets a little bit better each time, or a little bit easier each time. You get like, you realize some mistakes you made the first time and we're correcting them going forward. But yeah, that'd be my biggest advice, is just to be consistent with it. Like you can't just, especially with social media, you can't just post like once a week, or once every couple weeks, or even, really you gotta be posting every day if you really want to build a foundation. But ideally at least a few times a week. And then at the end of the day too, is like you gotta be posting things that people care about. Like that, I think that's another thing like a lot of content creators don't realize. So like they post things that are interesting to them, which is great, because it should be something you're passionate about and you're into, but it also has to be something that other people would care about too. Whatever, like if you're clipping out a conversation from a podcast interview, okay, maybe this part that you're clipping out was funny in the moment to you or the other person on the podcast, but like you got to imagine if someone's scrolling through, like, are they going to stop and watch that? Are they going to think that's funny? Or like, is there a hook there? Is there a reason why? Like if that starts off with the guest saying something crazy or a hot take, like that's something that will stop somebody scrolling and then, keep them engaged for the rest of the video. If there's like enough, if there's enough meat on the bone to it, of course. But yeah.
Gotcha. And before we get ready to wrap up, man, once again, I appreciate you doing this for me and giving me your time. I've been blessed to have Pinfield on. I've had Josh on, it's like, I still got Jose in my radar. I got to get him on, eventually, maybe even Katie Babs and stuff. But, I get to check you off my list, man.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
appreciate this, man. It's awesome, especially being a local guy. So hopefully,
Yeah, absolutely.
maybe we could connect at an AIW show or something
That'd be
sometime,
sick,
you know.
dude. Are
But
you going to Raw on Monday?
is it this Monday?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh crap! It's come. Usually, I mean, I don't know. So much has changed with the TKO thing. It makes it
Yeah.
like, that's the thing. Like you said, shelling out a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that WWE for years, and I don't know if they still do it. Like I go down there, me being retired military, I show my ID, and they'll give me a free ticket, but it's usually some
Oh, wow.
nosebleed.
Yeah, but still.
Not always the best location,
Yeah.
but yeah, I get to be there. So yeah, I forgot it was this Monday. I actually became friends with an Army veteran that works with the production crew.
Oh, nice.
And he's hooked me up in the past with like better seats, but I hear they're really tightening the budget. Like even like some of the talent has to buy tickets for their family now,
Wow.
to show up. It's kind of,
That's a bummer.
yeah. But yeah, man, I forgot it was this Monday. Maybe I will hit you up, and if you're going,
if I can get some cheap last minute tickets, I will. I haven't committed to buying them yet, but I'm holding out to hopefully get some cheaper ones when I get closer to the day.
I'm with you for sure, man, on that. But let me ask you a couple questions I normally ask my guests before we get ready and wrap up here. We talked about some of your inspirations, musically, and you always like kind of plug in newer artists, but who would you say are your top 3 artists you're listening to today?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's look at Spotify, see what it says. Oh man. So I guess like the people I'm listening to like the most like at this moment. I'm really digging the new Motionless in White track, For the Dark. I'm really digging the new Black Veil Brides. Let's see, I Prevail is always in the rotation. Architects are great. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff it's silly to say it, but I mean, honestly, a lot of stuff that we play on Octane, like maybe it's because like I'm listening to it for work all the time, but like that's the stuff I'm listening to in my spare time too, as well.
Nice. And then, with everything that you've experienced growing up and we talked about being in high school and stuff like that. What is something you wish they would have taught you, or what class do you feel should be mandatory before graduating high school today?
Taxes,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I still don't understand how it works. I could play hot cross buns on a recorder, but I don't think I could, I don't know how to use a W-2. So
yeah. Dude, that's the number one answer I get is like finances or taxes.
Yeah. I guess let's see. I think it'd be cool if in high school they had maybe they do now, because it's been obviously a while since I've been in high school, but if they had more focus on or some kind of class about like, I guess like public speaking and like communications and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure there are like classes like that, but there wasn't anything like that in my school as far as like some kind of like, unless it was like some kind of prioritized after school thing. But like, yeah, I think especially now with it being such a content driven world, I think it'd be cool to have a class that like prepares people. It doesn't have to prepare people to make content, but just prepare people like to have a conversation with another person, because I think that's a big thing that kids come out of school with, like not, especially it's probably even worse now with technology being so available, like, and then kids being glued to their phones. I think like a lot of kids aren't having enough practice talking to other people and being comfortable having a conversation with people and comfortable being in front of people and things like that. So, and of course that's just like a personality trait sometimes too. Some people are just shy. That's totally cool too. But I think given that offer out there for people or for kids to have a chance to become better at that before they get thrown out into the real world to figure it out, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were talking about how the benefits of social media and how we could use that to our advantage and get content out there. But, the backside with technology today, like you said, is like, you go to the dentist's office, you're sitting in the waiting room and you don't have like strike up a conversation with the person next to you anymore because everybody's like glued to their phones and stuff.
Down.
You know, nobody knows how to like have the basic conversations anymore. That's why I'm grateful that I do this now.
Yeah.
You know, to
Yeah,
keep those.
It's so many times like you'll be in like a situation with like a customer service person, and especially like when they're younger, it seems like they don't really fully like know how to engage. You don't have to, not even to like have like, you know, to fix the problem, just to like like communicate. You know, sometimes like
Eye contact is a big thing.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's just like, you know, being able to look somebody in the eye when you're talking to them. You know, just the basic stuff. You know, but I've definitely seen that. You know,
and it's not even just kids too. I mean, it's older people too. Like because I mean, again, those classes weren't available back then. There's a lot of like older people that just like, you know, they just don't have those communication skills either. So I think, but to your point, technology definitely isn't helping that, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. And then who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
Man, a loaded ass question, dude. Who inspired me? Dude.
And it doesn't have to be music and stuff like that, but just like
you know,
people that have impacted your life along the way.
Yeah, like Stone Cold Steve Austin was a big person who like kind of like inspired me to, not inspired me, but like I don't know, he was just like somebody that like his attitude and like his like, you know, confidence and stuff like that, I think was something that I gravitated towards as a kid. I think that kind of like shaped me a little bit, I guess. Yeah, I honestly I don't know how to answer that question. I don't have any mood boards or anything like that with people on it. So yeah.
Well, then you probably already answered my next question, and I haven't got to ask this in a while, but since we're both wrestling fans, favorite wrestler?
Oh, Stone Cold, man. I got the the Smoking Skulls tattoo right there.
Nice. Do you happen to know Don DiBiase by chance?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. You seen his body, his artwork?
No. I haven't seen it. What
man. I mean, big wrestling and Star Wars fan, and his body shows it, you know.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I used to back in the day, I used to go to his family's house because they used to have like a Royal Rumble party, and it was amazing because they did like this thing where we'd all pick like our own number, and then there was like, you know, everybody threw in some money to play, and then at the end, if your guy won, you know, it was like a whole to do, and they had a nice Italian buffet spread and stuff. I definitely miss that. But great dude. And then going back to childhood, favorite toy as a child.
I mean, my wrestling action figures, I guess that would have to be my go-to. I had all of them, man. I had all the guys in the ring and the all the accoutrements, you know, the little folding chairs and stuff like that. Yeah, that'd probably be my go-to.
Nice. And then any message you have for our military members currently serving overseas?
Thank you. Appreciate you doing all the hard work.
Awesome. And then like for anybody that might be new to satellite or TikTok or anything like that, and they want to, you know, follow you and see what's going on in the world of Jesse Lee, where would you send them?
Yeah, find me just at Jesse Lee on TikTok and Instagram, and all the links are in the bio there for everything else. That's probably the easiest way to find me.
Awesome. Well, Jesse, man, I appreciate the conversation. Real quick, one last favor, if I could ask of you before we wrap up, do you mind cutting a promo ID for my show? Just introduce yourself, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Sure, yeah. All right. Hey, it's me, Jesse Lee, and you're listening to Boondoggle. Does that work? Or you want something else?
Yeah, that works, man. That's good. Thank you.
Cool.
Awesome, brother. Well, hey, thank you for the conversation, man. It was good getting to know you better, and hope to see you around the scene here.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, dude. Thanks for the time.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
All right. Listen up. Hold on to your seats. Grab your girls, grab your beers,
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now, here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.